a big hole 10 foot deep. I kind of already messed up a little bit on it. I think I'm gonna have to kind of get in here and trim this one side and cut some benches. I didn't start filming whenever I started digging the hole, but I'm hoping I can reach from over here. I think I can. I'll get over, extend the hole, but we're gonna have to kind of get up here in the corner, kind of living on the edge here a little bit, but we'll be all right. I do it every day. It's not a big deal. So right down under me, we've got benches cut, and we're kind of limited on the space over here. We got these columns. We've got other spot footings. But basically what I'm doing here is I'm finding the edge of my layout, and I'm going to take it to the bottom, and then I can bench this side here and make it safer. We try not to put anybody in a hole over 4 foot deep without benching or some kind of safety. Have we before? Yeah, we have. Everybody has, but we really try not to. It ain't worth getting somebody hurt. I mean, this is a job. It's not a adventure. So just try to keep the risk taken down to a minimum. And try to make it safe for everybody here so they can all enjoy another day of work tomorrow, I guess. I'm gonna buckle my seatbelt. This could cave in. I could end up in this hole. But me ending up in the hole in the backhoe is not that big a deal. I could get it out. I'd probably live through it if I didn't fall out the back window or something stupid. So. I used to ride broncs when I was younger, bareback broncs. I thought I was a cowboy. But I'm not in as good a shape as I used to be. You know, back then I could have rode this thing about anywhere without a seatbelt, upside down or whatever, just hung on. But like I say, I'm a little bit out of shape nowadays. I couldn't hang on to a bucking horse to save my life. So there's several ways you can do this type of deal. And a lot of people don't understand why I do the deep part first, but the reason I do it that way is so we don't have to relay out the hole. Because if I started digging benches, by the time I got to the middle of it, I'd be off on the layout. So then we'd have to put a surveyor down in the hole and survey it again to make sure it's right. So the way I do it, we try not to put anybody in there. I mean, we might have them stand on the edge there and shoot a grade. And OSHA regulations, you probably should have a harness and be tied off to do that. I'm not going to worry about getting it perfect on grade. Basically why I'm over here is to get these benches right and to get it safe. So I could get over on the other side and I could trim that side back too. And I can reach all the way across this hole. So it's really not a big deal, because if I'm off a little bit on the grade, I can fix it. I suspect it needs to go down just a little more. We're probably about on grade there, but what we're shooting, we're just about 7 feet below the dirt grade. This hole's actually 10 foot below finished floor, but finished floor is 3 foot above the dirt grade. So that's one reason this building is down in a hole. Get a shot on that or not. I don't think they can get a shot where the laser's setting. I'm in the way. So, but there's a little more to digging a hole like this than an ordinary footing. Actually going to cut the edge on that so it doesn't lose it. Well, never mind, it doesn't matter. This dirt's not very stable. It's Class C, I think what they call it. Maybe worse than that, I don't know. It's not bad, except there's a layer of sand down in there, and that's really a problem. It's just crumbling away. So stuff like this is a little different. This takes a little more skill, a little more practice. If I had a new backhoe hand, I wouldn't probably expect him to be able to do this. At least correctly. There's a lot you got to think about when you're doing this. It's not just your normal dig. And you can see there's a lot of concrete chunks in this stuff. For years and years, a lot of trucking companies used to drop in material here. This is just, they were taking material, so dirt contractors, whoever had extra dirt in the area, they'd drop it off here. So it's it's full of chunks of concrete and stuff they didn't want to use. Old bricks. I found a few tree roots, tree stumps. So, not really the greatest material to dig in. The top part's pretty good. The red part, they actually probably did some, they did a little work on it. So I think we're close to the 2 foot up from the bottom there. I'm gonna move over and dig another bench here. We're actually going to end up with 3 benches on this. So, digging benches takes a little time. It's not a, you know, this isn't something that just happens instantly. You got to dig them, you got to clean them, you got to dig them and trim everything up. Anyway, we did some other holes that were deeper than this. This one's only about 7 foot deep. We did some that were 10 over on the hotel when we did the, I'm thinking, we did some big elevator pits that were pretty deep. We also did some big footings that were really deep. We did some, oh, we did a big old hole for that tower crane where it sits. We had to dig a, love them concrete chunks. Well, I dug a, well, actually they helped me dig it, but we dug out a pit for the tower crane base. That was a big old hole. I can't remember the size of it, but me and one of their guys with the John Deere 60, we kind of tag teamed it. We knocked it out pretty quick. It was pretty neat dig. I think I got some footage of it somewhere. Anyway, this is just full of concrete right here. Not digging clean at all. End of it. Good. Just checking our dimensions, make sure I got it big enough. When you're transferring a line that deep, sometimes it can be hard to come out right. So, okay. 7 foot ain't so bad. If you get over, you know, get down about 10 foot, it's pretty easy to miss the mark a little bit. So, it's just, you want to be sure they're right. Maybe a little on the big side. A lot of times there's lots of rebar that has to go in these, so sometimes the rebar is really big and heavy and they don't want to mess with it much. So you try not to have any redos. So starting a hole like this is easy, it's finishing it's tough. You got to work yourself to a corner and then you got to do your benches. This one didn't turn out quite as nice as I would have liked to have seen it. but it's safe. It's the right size, right depth. I'm within an inch, I think, maybe an inch and a half deep in that one corner, but the rest of it's pretty darn close. So I'll have to get back up there and trim it a little more. I tried to dig some steps in that corner. The clay was a little better, held up better. I think they're getting ready to shut down, so they're probably going to drive some posts around it. It's about quitting time. This one took a little longer than I thought it would, but the main reason is because there's not a lot of room around here to work, for one thing. So having to get in at multiple positions and angles, try to make it work, it takes a little time. But we dug some bigger than this, deeper on that hotel over there. I think we had some that were pretty near 10 foot deep. This one's 10 foot below finished floor, but finished floor's 3 foot up, so 10 foot deep takes a lot of time. And I didn't get this side real straight on the benches. It don't really matter that much as long as, you know, as long as we're safe. As long as our safety people like it. So digging footings like this is different than digging pipeline or digging ditches for plumbers or electricians or whatever. Because the finished product has to be a certain size in the bottom. When you're digging pipeline, usually it's just wide enough for a trench box, or if you're benching, wide enough to get the pipe in. So a little different deal when you're doing this. So I think it's a little trickier. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's just me overthinking it, I don't know. I think it looked better where we had one extra step. I kind of tried to split the difference, so I changed the elevation a little bit, but this guy, he didn't really want to do it all the way around it. I'm like, dude, we're gonna have to do a little bit more than 3 sides or 2 sides or whatever. You can see I really messed this deal up here. That's crooked as crap. That's okay. As long as it's a little bigger than it needs to be, that's what we're after. Like I say, this could have turned out a lot better. But that being said, the important part is right in the bottom. The hole's right size, right depth. And that's all they really care about. The size of that concrete pad that goes in the bottom has got to be to the engineered specs. Now this is these supports are actually for water slides. That's what they told me anyway. I think that's right. So water slides, if you've ever been down a water slide and you're climbing up the ladder to get to the top, you see columns and you see big beams and that kind of stuff. This is what's under it. Way down under the concrete floor. where you'll never see it again. Most of my work is buried. But you know, it's kind of neat to be a part of building something that will be here for a lot of years and a lot of people will enjoy or have fun with. I've done a lot of schools. They're kind of boring. Did some casino stuff that's kind of interesting. So another thing, you got to get right on the edge of these holes. When they're deep, they're worse. But what I'm doing here is trying to finish out this corner. Remember right, those elevator pits took more than a day to dig. This one's taken me, I think we started on it, I know we started on it right before lunch and it's almost 3:30, so I've got about 3 hours in this one so far. Maybe 3.5. Side over there is just super sandy. I mean, that's old sugar sand that even when these guys walk on the edge of that bank, it caves in. So you understand, I hope, why we're making this big, widening it out. Anyway, another exciting adventure with tobacco. I'll check measurement on me, see how I did. Good? Too much? I probably got a little big there. Like I say, they'd rather be on the big side. Not a lot big. I mean, I'm saying a couple of inches, but I'm just going to dress up my steps a little bit. Or my benches, actually, these, I don't know. Different people call them different things. I've heard people say that you should only slope this type of soil. But if this ditch were to cave in right now, deeper, got a little bit, needs to go deeper there. Part of the problem with, I didn't think it looked that high. It said 2 inches. Part of the problem with digging these types of holes is trying to get a grade man in there safely to shoot. So there's a little guesswork I got to do. I've got to be able to get it close. And I can get them pretty close, really. Once I find grade, it's like second nature, I guess, for me. And you would think that a shallow ditch would be easier to see grade on, but it actually, for me, is not. And I think it's the angle. I think it has to do with the angle that your eyes are seeing that bottom. good. Sometimes it's easier to see grade farther away from you too, I think. But that might be because I need glasses. Some of this I do a little bit by feel, some of it's actually looking at it. Some of it's just having the machine level and just, you know, actually I'm probably out just a little bit. Well, I'm pretty close. Well, we got some rocks in there that are causing problems. You like to roll your bucket up over them. But anyway, good. You're gonna have to shovel a little bit out.